Hi everyone, I'm Doug Snyder, and this is your demo of QBank.com. Before I show you our platform, I want to briefly talk about question bank learning and what QBank can do for you and your students. QBank.com is an all-in-one question bank solution. This means we have everything you need to create, publish, and scale a question bank, allowing you to make money for your business or keep access private for your students. If you're not familiar with the power of question bank learning, I'll walk you through a brief example. This is you. You're either an educator teaching a course, a content expert operating an educational business, or a publisher managing high quality content. And these are your students who rely on you to provide an engaging educational experience that enhances their knowledge and academic growth. The most effective teaching method to provide this educational experience often combines traditional teaching of structured content delivery with personalized learning that's geared towards each student's learning needs, style, and pace. You likely excel at traditional teaching. You deliver structured lessons and resources that cover all concepts within a standardized curriculum. However, large class sizes, remote learning, time constraints, and static LMS platforms prevent you from providing personalized learning to each student. As a result, your students only receive traditional teaching, which, while it offers clear and organized instruction, it promotes a one-size-fits-all approach to education that can result in passive learning at a fixed pace with delayed feedback only received through traditional testing. This leaves your struggling students behind, your average students fall short of their potential, and your high-achieving students are left unchallenged. Question bank learning on QBank.com revolutionizes education by seamlessly integrating personalized learning technology into your existing curriculum. No matter your class size or teaching style, QBank eliminates the weaknesses of traditional teaching. Your students now have a tailored approach to education with active learning at a flexible pace with immediate feedback. Not only does personalized learning address each student's learning needs, but it also enhances engagement, increases motivation, and improves academic outcomes. Here's how it works. It's well known to educators that students enjoy learning from practice test questions because it helps reinforce knowledge, identify learning gaps, and builds confidence for real exams. You likely already have or can easily write hundreds of practice test questions. QBank.com transforms your database of static practice test questions into a dynamic and highly effective learning tool called a question bank, or QBank for short. Educators can efficiently manage their individual questions using our platform's powerful suite of features, including built-in collaborative editing, real-time publishing, multimedia support, version history, and we can even bulk upload your questions for you. Students now have personalized learning at their fingertips from your same practice test questions. They can craft custom tests with content and settings of their choosing, track their performance with real-time feedback, review in-depth explanations to master concepts, identify their strengths and weaknesses, and continue to tailor their studying to meet their specific learning needs, style, and pace. And finally, QBank's cloud-based platform offers versatility and scalability. Question bank learning is suitable for any curriculum, and our platform is built for both individual educators and large institutions. Each question bank can have thousands of questions, accommodate millions of users, and can be deployed in just days. Schools and businesses can keep access to their question banks private for their own students and employees, or sell recurring subscriptions worldwide on our platform's marketplace, the QBank Store. You control custom branding options and even the duration and pricing of your subscriptions to your students. With all that said, let's dive into QBank.com. I'm excited to show you a question bank that I created specifically for healthcare professionals, taking an advanced CPR course called Advanced Cardiovascular Life Support. I'm an emergency medicine doctor by training, so this is my area of expertise. These questions likely won't be applicable to you, but I want you to envision your content and curriculum on our platform. I'll show you the student perspective first, and then I'll show you how I easily develop the question bank as an educator. After I log in as a student, I immediately land on my dashboard, which provides powerful analytics all in one place. A student can see their overall performance based on either their most recent attempt at each question, which we call their current score, or their cumulative performance. They can also see their strengths and weaknesses by category, their percent usage of the question bank, and an overview of their completed and paused tests. You can see that this question bank has 200 questions. I've taken 95 of these questions, and if you review my performance by category, you can see that I have a big weakness, and that is ECG recognition. When your students log into their dashboard for the first time, the dashboard will be blank until they take their first test. So let's take a custom test tailored to my specific learning need of ECG recognition and see the magic of question bank learning. On the left navigation sidebar, I'm going to click Start Test. Custom Test is pre-selected for us, but you can also see that we offer an option to take a quick test that randomly pulls 20 questions from the 200 questions and a specific educator-generated test that we call a pre-built test. You can think of this as a typical static quiz or a test that you're currently offering. I'm going to select Take Custom Test. We will first select our test content and then we'll apply our test settings before starting the test. I'll start by filtering down the available content. All questions are neatly organized into categories and subcategories, similar to folders and subfolders. And you'll see how you do this as an educator. We will focus on ECG recognition. And so you can see right now that I have 200 questions available for this test. But as we filter down, now we just have the 15 questions that are in the subcategory ECG recognition. If I wanted to add additional topics into my test, I can select multiple topics. We currently have all questions selected, which includes unused and used questions. I can also filter used questions by incorrect, correct, unanswered, and flagged. And this is how you scored from your most recent attempt if you're taking a question for a second or third time. We'll keep all selected, and we'll click Next. We can give each test a specific name for future referencing. I'm going to name this test ECG Recognition Practice. We have 3 different test modes. Untimed and timed are your standard testing mode in that you take all questions and you see the answers and explanations upon completion of the test. Also with time tests, you can apply a specific time so that you can mimic the real exam that you're studying for, or make it more challenging. Study mode shows you the answer and explanation after you complete each question. So let's take a time test and we'll make it more challenging. I'll give myself 30 seconds per question, and we'll just do 10 questions here. I'm going to click Start Test. You can immediately see that our test-taking interface is clean and straightforward, keeping the focus on the question content. A student can easily navigate between questions using the left sidebar, which also indicates which questions are unanswered by the exclamation point and which questions are flagged by the flag. I'll answer these questions fairly quickly, intentionally getting some correct and some incorrect. While taking a test, a student can always pause their exam at any time and resume it at a later time. Our platform supports multiple choice questions with a single best answer format, which also includes true-false, and each question can contain media in both the question stem and explanation, including images, GIFs, audio files, and videos to support that question. So we'll just click through here, getting some correct, some incorrect. Again, you don't need to know what these are. If I don't answer a question, I have to check that I've left something unanswered, and you can quickly see that, oh, question 10, I haven't answered it. So we can go back and then click finish and then submit our test. The test results are immediately available and include the overall score, a summary of the test details, and links to review all questions, or simply review questions that you scored incorrect, flagged, or unanswered. You also have the ability to retake that same test. It might not make much sense to do it right now, but in a few days, week, or month down the road, it would be a good opportunity for a student to revisit a test and see how they're doing now. So you can see that we scored a 30% on this test, which is not great. Now what we're going to do is we're going to review the entire test, question by question. When you review a test, we re-show you the question stem and answer choices, but mark the chosen answer and the correct answer. We also show a detailed explanation for a key concept that's being taught, an explanation of the correct answer, and explanation of incorrect answers. As you are an educator, this is what you will put in on the Educator portal to help your students learn. This is incredibly valuable to students and part of the personalized learning experience. In a lecture hall or module, you may spend 10 minutes as an educator explaining a concept. Some students may understand the concept in 2 minutes, other students may require more than 10 minutes, and some students may not even realize that they have a gap in their understanding. Question bank learning is efficient and effective because it identifies learning gaps for students and optimizes each student's study time. If a student understands a concept and correctly answers the question, they don't need to spend any more time reviewing the explanation and can simply move on to the next question. A student who misses the question can read through the explanation, look or watch any media, and then move on to the next question and concept when they understand it. This question additionally has explanation media that shows why questions or why answer choices are incorrect. We also offer the opportunity for an educator to add a reinforcement question, which is a click to show answer type of question to either verify or reinforce learning or to further challenge their students. This does not count for or against a student. And finally, we provide an area where an educator can provide a reference for a student to go back and further read about a concept. The tabs at the top also allow that student to efficiently look through the ones that are just correct or the ones that are incorrect or flagged, and the left sidebar also shows up. Now that we've reviewed a test, a student can navigate back to their dashboard, and you can see that there's updated statistics in real time. You can see that our cumulative score is out of 10 more questions. At any time, a student can click on My Tests and review previous test results and individual questions. To illustrate the power of incorrect reinforcement, I'll take a second ECG recognition test, but this time I'll focus on questions that we scored incorrectly. In this student scenario, maybe I have 5 minutes in between classes or a few minutes before work. So I'll keep this test short and only do 4 questions. And this time I'll select study mode. So this is untimed, and I'll see the answer immediately upon submitting the question. Same thing, I can go back to my dashboard and statistics are updated in real time. So you can see how question bank learning is dynamic and effective in empowering students to take control of their education. And from a personalized learning standpoint, every student has a different experience that identifies their gaps in understanding and provides effective and efficient teaching from your explanations as an educator. You can also see how we can tailor even short study sessions towards a student's individual learning needs. Now, let's see how easy it is for me to manage this question bank and how easy it would be for you to publish and scale your own question bank. I am now logged into my educator account for the same question bank. The first thing you'll notice is that the icons on the left sidebar are different than that of the student account. And that's because QBank utilizes role-based authentication, meaning that different roles have different permissions and actions. This educator account has question writer, question editor, instructor, and administrator roles. This is the My Questions page, and you can see that it shows 200 published questions, which is the same number of questions that the student can see. Before I walk you through the table, there are a few principles of managing a question bank to understand. First, questions are organized into categories, and you saw this from the student perspective when we chose content for an exam and how we identified our strengths and weaknesses. Each question is assigned to a single tiered category. QBank supports up to 3 tiers of categorization. In this most simple example, a 1-tier category QBank could be first, second, third, fourth, fifth grade, etc. This may be all you need, but if you have a larger or more complex question bank, you may need 2 or 3 tiers of categorization, which we support. The more thoughtfully planned and well organized the categories, the more effectively a student can filter their test questions and identify their strengths and weaknesses. Setting up your categories is the very first thing you will do when you set up your question bank. To do this, you'll simply click the admin icon and then question categories. From this accordion, you can easily add and edit your categories in real time. The admin role is also where you'll set up your logo and brand colors. The second principle to understand is that QBank supports an entire question lifecycle, with question states ranging from draft to submitted to published to deleted. Published questions are the live questions in the question bank that a student can see and use. We also support question versioning, so you as an educator or team of educators can constantly be improving your questions with the ability to look back on previous versions. So let's go back to the My Questions table. This table looks simple, but it's actually packed with features. Each question has a modified date, a name, a 3-tiered categorization that we call subject, category, and subcategory, a learning objective, a question state, and a primary author. Both name and learning objective are designed to keep you more organized as an educator. You can filter the table by question state and category. From the table, you can also view comments between question authors on a specific question, view and edit a question, assign and reassign the primary author, and view the version history of a question. So let's filter the table and look again at ECG recognition questions. When I click View, I can see all the fields of the question, many of which you saw from the student perspective. When I click Edit, a form appears with those same fields. Now I can easily make any edits to any field. A few things to point out is that we support Markdown, which allows you to add text editing to any field. It also allows you to add tables. This table is not applicable to this question, so I'm going to remove it, but you can see how you can easily do that. The other thing we offer is the ability for custom answer choice ordering. So you can order questions or answer choices in the order that they're inputted
You can randomize them once, or you can place them in alphabetical order. If I make an edit to this question, I can save this question as a new version draft, and that would keep the currently published question live, or I can submit and publish these changes right away, and it would replace the currently published question. We'll discard those changes for now. There are two ways to add a new question to your question bank. If you already have questions ready to go, we can bulk upload your questions automatically into the published state. To do this, your questions will need to follow a specific Excel file format that we'll share with you. Our bulk upload script can handle thousands of questions. You can also add questions one by one. To do this, you simply click the Add Question button on the My Questions table. The first thing you'll do is you'll select the categorization of the question, and that same form appears. At any time, you can save your question as a draft or submit your question to be published. A really neat feature from the authoring perspective is that writing and editing questions can be a collaborative effort, and this is why we created a hierarchy of authoring roles. I previously mentioned the roles of question writer and question editor. The question writer role can create drafts and submit questions to be published, whereas the question editor role has the authority to publish questions into the live question bank. And finally, I'll show you the instructor role briefly. The instructor role has the ability to view and create pre-built tests that you saw as a student. So these are the 4 pre-built tests that you saw when I was actually starting a test as a student. To build a test, you simply click Test Builder. You can give a test a name. We can select the test mode that the student will have to do for that specific pre-built test. And then you can actually select the questions that you want to put on that test and reorder them in any way you want to. We've thoughtfully designed the Educator portal to be efficient for a single author or a team of educators. As with the other roles on the platform, we keep adding more and more features. By the time you reach out to us, you will soon be able to see the student roster and each student's performance, as well as individual question statistics. The last thing to talk about is our pricing and plans, and you can always find the most up-to-date information on our website. When you're ready to create a question bank, you'll choose from one of 2 distinct plans, a public QBank or a private QBank. Each plan has a base fee and per student fee. Let's start with the public QBank plan first. This plan is great for educators or businesses wishing to make money selling question bank subscriptions worldwide. You'll get full access to our question writer and editor roles to manage your questions in real time. When your question bank is ready to sell, you'll pick the subscription duration and cost to your students. We will then sell your QBank for you on the QBank store, and students in over 45 countries with internet access can purchase your subscription. You'll keep up to 82% of revenue. Next, we have the private QBank plan. This plan is designed for schools or businesses that want to keep question bank access private to a select group of learners. You can add students one by one, or we can bulk upload a student roster for you. The first 50 students are included in the base rate, and each additional student is $5 per user per month. The cost is a no-brainer for schools and businesses. For schools, the cost per student is markedly less than the cost of a single textbook. And for businesses, students are willing to pay 2 to 10 times our student cost depending on the content of your question bank. We believe that QBank is for anything worth knowing. Don't settle for a one-size-fits-all approach to education when integrating personalized learning technology is easy and affordable. Thank you for your time today. We look forward to hearing from you and helping you transform your curriculum into a dynamic, student-centered experience that drives success for every learner.